Hello.
Hello. Hey, hi
How
guys.
are you?
I'm good, and you?
Good.
Good to see you guys again. It's been a very long time.
Good.
Yeah, it has.
How was the scenic route here?
Fantastic. As always, I'm always the best when it comes to technology. Okay, cool. So my name is Michelle, live in Johannesburg, and I studied at Greenstar Design Centre doing my interior design BA degree. And then after that, a few years later, I decided to actually do an art therapy course. But with all of that being said, I've had about 7 years experience in interior design in the residential aspect as well as the commercial side. Thoroughly enjoy residential and commercial both. I mean, it brings, different kind of things to the party. Also, in these 7 years, I decided to go to China and spend 2 years there teaching kids art through English. So yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at the moment. And yeah, I guess we are all stuck in lockdown now, trying to be as creative as we can.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah, so that's quite a bit that you do. But let's try to get to know the lockdown Michelle. So we're gonna do our little COVID quiz and try to answer the questions as fast as you can.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Afternoon naps or sleeping in?
Sleeping in.
Me too. Series or movies?
Series.
Sneakers or slippers?
Slippers.
Pen or pencil?
Pencil.
Digital sketch or hand drawn?
Hand drawn.
Black and white or color?
Both.
Okay. Morning shower or evening shower?
Morning shower.
Snack all day or 3 meals a day?
Snack all day.
And finally, your best lockdown hack.
Best lockdown hack. Staying fit in a healthy way, in a positive way, mentally, physically, emotionally. That would be the hack.
Yeah, I think
That's a good hack to have.
Yeah. I think we
not one that we all use, but definitely a good one to have.
Yeah, something we can all use more of.
Yeah.
Cool. So you've established your career as an interior designer, but also an art illustrator, which is something I didn't know. And I looked up your work and I loved it. And I want to I actually want to get you to do some stuff for me. So that's amazing. So
perfect.
How was the impact of COVID-19 and the nationwide lockdown differed for the two businesses that you're in?
So it's been quite an interesting little journey through this lockdown, and I guess I'm going to say there's pros and cons to it. So just a little bit of a background through this lockdown. With the interior design firm that I was at, I was actually retrenched. But with all of that being said, I think that this lockdown actually happened at the perfect time, because it has allowed me to go within myself and realize that yes, interior design is for me, but I feel like there is a bigger picture through all of it. So that's why I've been saying, the little hack for lockdown, it's more of a mental, emotional kind of thing. And, from the interior design aspect, I've decided now that, a little bit of studying, of course, we've been open to a lot of more studies in this time, and it's the best time to do such a thing. So I've, done a bit more from the interior aspect, as in understanding business from the, through interior design. So I've always been seen as the creative interior designer, and the one side that I needed to learn was the business aspect. So I studied a bit more from a business aspect, and now probably in the next month, I'm hoping to launch my very first own interior design agency with a few creators.
Congrats.
So I'm quite excited about that. It hasn't been launched as yet because the website is currently in progression. But from an art aspect, I think this time it's allowed a lot of people to be more socially active from a virtual aspect. So of course, going on Instagram and Facebook and everything. And I've been queried a lot of times through the art illustrations. I never thought of being a person to be seen as an art illustrator, but I've become more open to doing work for other people. So from an art illustrative part, I've done a lot of my own personal stuff, but in future as well, that is going to be built up into, if I can call it, fashion line, product line, everything like that. So that's kind of on the hush hush at the moment, because there's a lot of work that needs to be done. But yeah, I think, this lockdown has been a positive thing, because it's allowed me to take time to focus on like what I want to do for the first time. Because of course, as we all know, working for somebody else, not a bad thing, but I think, you tend to lose a lot of time being able to spend it on yourself and knowing what you want as a creative designer. So yeah, lockdown's been, it's been hard, but it's been a learning lesson, as well as being very positive side.
Oh, that's interesting to hear from, obviously, the previous people that we've spoken to have all already had sort of their own thing going into lockdown. So their struggles have sort of been trying to keep that going. So it's nice to have like a fresh perspective of starting something new in lockdown and going from there, So yeah, that's quite cool. It's very exciting for you, I'm sure. We see lots of bits and pieces. I've seen bits and pieces of your artwork, so I don't want to go too much into it if it is hush hush, but it's exciting, and I'm keen to see more.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Cool. And in your new venture, I know that we're not gonna like go in depth into what it is, but have you treated it like you would have pre-pandemic, or have you now gone into it and looked at it as the new normal that we'll all be living in the future? Have you made provisions of how you would sell this to your customer base, or how people would consume it, all those things? Has it changed the way that you've approached creating a new business?
I do think so. I think in this time, it's been the first time where I've decided to start up a company as an individual and as a creative, which I do find very difficult for creatives, because I don't know, for me, I don't feel like I have that side of my brain working. So it's been quite a challenge on that aspect. But I think when it comes to interior design, it's if you look at graphic design and website designing and all that, it's for interior design, I find it a bit more difficult, because we have to be in contact with our clients and with our suppliers and being on site with other people. So I think, the one aspect that I have seen with other interior design firms, and what I will be bringing in, because my interior design firm will mainly focus on residential, so it's a lot more personal, would be, of course, your e-designing. So working with the client virtually, which I don't think many people have done, unless it's been international, like, the America and Europe and all that kind of stuff. But I think this has been a good jump for South Africa to rethink about things. So, this is a full-on tester for all of us. And I think, coming as a person trying to start up a new company, I think this is the best time to test things and to get things out, because I don't know how long we're going to be in lockdown for, but we've got to make the most of this time. And I think e-designing for an interior designer would be quite a challenge, but something that's quite new, and I don't know, it might be the way forward. We've just got to test it out and see how it works out.
Yeah, I definitely agree with the aspect of sort of trying something new, and like you're saying with the e-designing specifically, I think generally overseas people are doing it. It's something new here, but it's also like you have nothing to lose at this stage. So it's sort of like a platform to test the waters, experiment and develop those skills and everything going forward. So that's very exciting. And then with the art side as well, are you sort of bringing that into the interior business, or are you keeping that sort of separate?
It's going to be a mix. I think from an interior design aspect, one thing that I have realized us as interior designers is that we are so focused on budget that we seem to go the easy route when it comes to interiors. Do this here, put this here. And I feel like, there's a lot of things that we can do budget friendly or non-budget friendly, that can be highly creative. You know, whether it's doing a different paint technique, or whether it's creating different heights of walls, or, you know, something weird and wonderful. And that's kind of what I want to bring in from an artistic aspect. Also supporting a lot of South African, you know, artisans, all of those kind of things. I really want to focus and push local design, because I do think with my travels, I've seen a lot of design, and South Africa has something so unique to give that I would like that to kind of build a bit more. But when it comes to the art illustrations, I can give a little bit of a backup of the other company, which it kind of is on Instagram. It's more just the art, but the company name is called Run With Me, and that's going to be built up into 3 aspects. Of course, the one aspect is actually going to be teaching kids art and everything like that, as well as adults. So it's like art workshops. The other one would be products and fashion. So you'll see my artworks will be on those products given, whether it's you know, notepads or anything. I'm going to take that to the next level. And then, of course, the third, the whole Run With Me, the whole reason for it is to bring it to a very good initiative, and that's to help, you know, children underprivileged with education. So whether it's applying utensils, stationery, school bags, or something, it will kind of move into that aspect. But like I said, that side, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. So hopefully in the next few months, or in 2021, something like that will come out. But yeah, not going to stop the art side. That's, you know, if opportunities come across that way, then yeah, always open to take it.
That's really exciting. I did a project a few years ago where, so they took underprivileged kids and sort of exposed their talents where, you know, they're obviously living in difficult circumstances, and they sort of did these art workshops with them to help them with their skills. I mean, the work that they do is absolutely incredible. And it's so nice to see, like, you taking your talents to help other people with their talents and sort of build this community. And that's sort of what Sasha and I were discussing in the beginning of these videos, to say, like, we really need to start building this design community up where, you know, we start bringing in people from all aspects. It's not just graphic designers or web designers, it's artists, it's all types of creatives coming together, being innovative with one another, and sort of just building on that community. So that's really exciting. And yeah, I'm very excited to see stuff going forward.
Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, so I mean, we're talking about collaboration, and there's been a big sort of movement in the lockdown and the pandemic, etc., for creatives and creators to collaborate, you know, to expand their reach or to leverage off each other's audiences, etc. How have you been able to make that shift? Are you collaborating with people in the interior design space? Is that a thing? Are you able to do that? And also in the art illustration, and I know you're going to combine them in the future with your plans. And how would you then take the collaboration with other creatives and use it in what you want to do?
So I'm all about collaboration. I feel that as creatives, we do need to stand together, because we are such a small industry, but we create such a huge impact in this world. When it comes to the interior design side, I will be collaborating with other designers, interior designers, another interior designer who actually studied with me at Greenside as well. And she will be running up the KwaZulu-Natal area. And then, of course, another friend of mine who is more business manage based, but also an interior designer. So it's kind of collaborating with them and bringing our creativity together, because, of course, we have so many different aspects that we can add together. When it comes to the Run With Me, I think that does add a lot more of collaboration with creatives, just purely because, you know, if I look at the product side and I look at the fashion side and the jewelry side, I've decided to not only, like, if I can say I've designed it, but I've now kind of found the local South Africans that I trust and I really want to work with, and who I think are really, really creative. And I've kind of, you know, started working with them. So when it comes to fashion, I've got a fashion designer here in Johannesburg who is incredible, as well as the jewelry designer, and soon to be the product designers. Hopefully to bring in handwork stuff so that I can get guys to make things with their hands, because that's what we are good with. So yeah, I'm all in when it comes to collaboration, and I hope to collaborate with more creators in the future as well.
Yeah, and what is the benefit of that collaboration? Like, I mean, certain people will say, I've got to work on my own because it's my style and it can't be influenced by other people's styles coming in. What is the actual benefit of collaborating, and especially in a time that we are now? I mean, surely there's a reason to collaborating. There's a reason why you're doing it, and you're not just going run with me on your own.
Yeah, I think collaboration, and then maybe I'm only speaking for myself or for a group of people, but I feel like collaborating with different creators kind of help me personally and the other creatives to be better and to see better, because I've had it before where I've worked individually on projects, and when I look at it again, I'm like, oh my word, if I had that help, if I had that creative help with somebody else, and if I was able to share that with somebody else, the amount of amazingness that would come out of that would be way better than what came out of me. So I think every creative sees something differently, and by bringing in all those different aspects and making it into one thing, I think it can become way better than only one person. But I think also then again, it's dependent on personalities, it's dependent on the creatives, depending on the person that we are. There's a lot of people who enjoy working alone. I know that for me as a creative, I like working alone to an extent, but I'm always the person to ask others, like, okay, well, how can I better this? What can I do? Can you give me advice? Because I like to know people's thought processes, so I do like to work with people, and I think collaboration in this time as well also helps others, because it reminds us that we are not alone. I find that the creative industry is really tough, and I don't know why. I feel like it's quite tough in South Africa, and this is the time where we need to stand together, and that's why I think what you guys are doing is incredible, because it's just bringing us all together to be like, hey, we're creative, we're amazing. So
Yeah, Sasha and I were discussing in our first video sort of like just the ins and outs of why we were doing this, and basically saying, there's no platform for us to sort of get feedback or criticism without putting ourselves sort of like on a like nailing ourselves to the wall and being like, have at it, because that's really what people, they rip each other to pieces. And I to an extent I understand, like you said, the industry, obviously you want the work, you're a designer yourself. There's a lot of other designers like you. There's a lot of other people that do what you do. But what people neglect to remember is that we're all individuals. We might do the same thing, but like you said, our processes are completely different.
Yeah.
We see things completely differently. And what really resonated with us was sort of having that studio vibe that you had in varsity, where you can sort of pick like from different people, and they can give you that feedback and say, look, you haven't looked at it this way, or you can change that, and it just betters everything, and that at the end of the day benefits all of us, and it just strengthens the industry so much more. So yeah, that's basically the aim here, and I'm so excited that so many people think that way. And like you said as well, we're not alone in our creativity and in our processing now, where everyone I think feels like that. And also I think now is the time to probably be more creative than we ever have been, and see what comes out of it. So that's it's a very exciting time, very stressful as well, but I mean, there's nothing to lose in the process. I think that's the most important part. At the end of the day, we're only going to gain from it. So that's quite an important thing to remember as well.
100%. Yeah.
Okay, and then like many of us creatives are really struggling to cope during this pandemic, especially because we are emotional beings. Like, you know, we are in
Yes.
touch with our emotions in order to be creative. So how have you been during this time, and what has helped you keep your head above water, um, as a creative, having this emotional experience?
Um, sure. It's quite interesting because I'm not gonna lie, I've had a few tears in this lockdown, but I think everyone has
Yeah.
because of uncertainty. But I think it's just, speaking to yourself and making you like reminding yourself that you are who you are and you have a creative instinct. And I think like I've been lucky enough to sit at home and do some art, and I think sometimes there are days where we procrastinate, and I think creatives are procrastinators at times, but we've just got to kind of remind ourselves that we need to keep focused on the good things, like keep ourselves focused on our creative side, because not everyone has that. um, Painting, drawing, doing dot painting, I know that when it comes from an art therapy aspect, working with simple things, dipping earbuds into paint and doing circles, things like that is a very good therapeutic form to help us. So I think it's, yeah, just, keeping busy with things that you love. I mean, I know from my side, I keep myself busy by also doing gym and just, I know, I reminisce over a lot of my past travels. So I just, I kind of bring back the goodness. Because I think we also tend to forget how much we've done in our life and what we've done in our life. And I think it's just going back and being like, wow, we've done some extraordinary things in our lives. So yeah, I think it's just keeping busy with creative stuff at this point.
Cool. Sinead, anything from your side?
No, I think it's a good point for Michelle to say, obviously, I think having gone to China as well, using you as an example, it's a completely different experience that you've had and completely different insights. And I think from going across the world and experiencing all these things and then having to stay at home, in a confined space, the greatest thing about it is that you still have your mind.
Yes.
And that part of it, no one can lock down and take away. And that's the great thing about creatives, because no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, you still have that. So you can still produce, you can still learn, you can still progress. And I think now is a great time for anybody to sit and reflect, first of all, and from that reflection sort of push forward and say, this is what's going to make me happy going forward. Whether someone's been retrenched or had a salary cut or had to change something completely, now is the best time to sort of start being happy and progressing forward and saying, this is why I'm a creative, this is why I studied what I studied, and this is why I got into what I wanted to do. And what's so great about it as well is that we've seen people study something so different from where they are now. They still hold on to it, like you've still got interior design, but you've sort of taken that and you've pushed forward into another direction, still keeping your core though. So I think that's also exciting to see. I know Sasha's done that, I've done that, and so many other designers have done that. So yeah, I'm excited to see what comes of the future, and hopefully you do some workshops that people can tune into.
Yes,
for thought.
definitely. I think, when it comes to just that whole run with me aspect, I think, by traveling to China and stuff, that kind of, it hit me hard, because I realized that, the way people live in different countries is very different to what we know. And, I had to deal with children, like, let's say 25 kids under the age of 4 that had no inclination of how to speak English, and I had to teach art. And that allowed me to be creative in different ways. And, by the end of the year or whatever, these kids were incredible with their art. And also with the art aspect, kids these days, and this is all over the world, people are so focused on grading art. So it's like, okay, well, you're going to go to an art class, you're going to draw this flower, and that's what you're doing for this hour. And that's not what I want. When I was teaching in China, pretty much changed the whole curriculum to be a bit more free, because in Chinese culture, it's all about doing your best. So it's like school, then it's English class, then it's guitar lessons, then it's karate, then it's something else. And these kids don't have time to be themselves. So with that being said, you know, I kind of brought in the creative side by like doing something silly, like taking paper, throwing it onto the table, closing their eyes, like blindfolding them, and then just letting them go crazy with paint, just expressing themselves with color and just showing what they can do from that kind of aspect of art. And that's kind of what I want to bring in here, you know, also bringing in the whole art therapy aspect. You know, I can't say that I'm an art therapist, I'm not qualified, but I know art is very therapeutic, and those workshops are going to do that for kids from nursery school up to high school. An hour a day, for example, it's where kids will be free. And then also when it comes to adults, because I feel like us as adults, we have forgotten pieces of ourselves. So every month, what would happen is we would have a group of people and there would be topics to it, which is creative. So you would, for example, have a topic called Finding Your Inner Goddess. And then, of course, that's mainly women. Some are for men, some are for mixed. But then within those 5 hours of a workshop, we talk about things and get creative and super awesome. And then in the last hour or the last second hour, we actually go out and we just create. And we just express ourselves through what we've spoken about. And then hopefully, you know, that creates a journey for the next one, or create a journey for them as an individual, going home with an art piece and saying, this is what I've learned about myself or about life. So yeah, it's very exciting.
So important. Yeah. It's so important because I know in myself as well. I mean, from studying to becoming a mom, like you lose a lot of that that talent that you started with. So, you know, obviously I'm a designer, so I use a lot of my laptop and design programs, and that's how I run my business. But so many times I think to myself, like, I need to just pick up a pencil and put it to paper, or I need to paint, to sort of just go back to my core and back to myself. And what's so nice about being a mom now is that I can do that with my kids as well, you know, and help them with their art and help them express themselves. And it's so important. I'm so excited that someone has that concept and is running with it. And yes, Run With is a perfect name. But it's so important, because even as a designer designing every day, you still lose it. You still have a block. You lose that core focus of why you started things and that raw talent that you have. So yeah, I'm very excited. I want to see your workshops, and we want to hear where we can look at your stuff and what promotions you have, what pages we can follow.
Perfect. With me aspect when it comes to workshops, that is currently in construction. So that's probably going to be down the next few months, because there is quite a bit of work that needs to be done. But once that happens, I will let you guys know about every workshop that happens. Just with you speaking about your children, one thing I can say is use your kids as inspiration. So see how they work with their art, artworks and paint, and do what they do. If they squeeze clay, go have fun. Like the kids.
I've painted lots with my kids. I get them to scribble on the canvas, and then I go and create out of that. And yeah, the one behind me is actually done with Blake.
That's amazing. Oh my gosh, I was going to ask about it. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, you know, he scribbled on the canvas, and I said, just go crazy, scribble and draw, and then from that I see what I can make out of it. So yeah, there's that one, and then there's a giraffe as well. So yeah, those are the ones that I will never let go of.
That's super stunning. I look forward to seeing more.
Yeah, no, I think it's a time factor with the kids, but definitely love getting them into the painting and creativity and everything. I think it's so important for anybody, even if you're not in the industry, just to sort of look at oneself and that journey of finding out who you are as a person. We need that expression and that release. So it's really cool. I'm glad that you're doing workshops, and I think they're going to be very beneficial.
I hope so. I hope people go with it. So thanks so much.
Awesome. Sash,
Well,
do you have
cool.
anything else that you want to add?
No, I mean, if there's any upcoming workshops or upcoming offerings that you've got going on, you can let whoever's watching, you can tell us about it.
Perfect. Yeah, we'll definitely guys let you guys know. Like I said, I know with my interior design side, that will probably get up and running in the next month or so. The Run With Me aspect, I think I'm only going to launch in 2021, just so that's kind of also a new beginning, and it allows people to go back to some kind of normality in this year if we ever go back to normality. But I think, yeah, at the moment, first thing would be the interior design firm, which, yeah, very excited for.
Cool.
Awesome.
Well, thank you for chatting to us, and we wish you everything that is magic on your endeavors going forward.
Thanks, guys, and the same to you.
Awesome.
It's been a really good chat.
Thanks.
Yeah, we'll definitely keep in touch and sort of, make sure that we're seeing what's happening, and yeah, just go back and forth and keep watching the spaces.
Definitely.
Awesome. Thanks
Cool,
so much.
ladies.
Bye.
Have a good
Cheers,
afternoon.
cheers.
Cheers.
Bye.